Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for our Facebook Live. My name is Gabby, and I am joined here with Carly Rupiper, who is representing the Boys Town Pediatric Weight Management Spark Clinic. So, this month is Childhood Obesity Awareness Month, so we thought it'd be great to take some time and kind of talk through how to build healthy habits for kids. So, in relation to exercise and nutrition and everything like that. So, we are going to go through some of our most asked questions on this topic. And if you're watching live and would like to leave any questions for Carly in the comment section, please feel free to do so and we can get those answered at the end. So, Carly, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Do you want to talk a little bit first about your role at the Spark Clinic and kind of what the Spark Clinic is for those who may not be familiar?
Absolutely. So, I'm a nurse practitioner, and so my role is to focus on the medical care for our patients, focusing on the health issues that kids can have as a result of having unhealthy eating or activity habits, or just having a little bit of extra weight gain than the body wants to have. So, I search for these health problems and treat them accordingly, whether it's through medications, ordering tests, or trying to fix them through eating healthier and more exercise. And our major focus for our clinic is looking at all aspects of a child and a family and getting them healthier. It's not just about looking at losing weight, but it's about improving our overall health.
Yeah, that's great. Well, it's certainly a great resource to have and to share. So we appreciate you joining. And we're going
Sure.
to go through our questions now. So the first one is, what are some of the causes of childhood obesity?
So it is definitely multifactorial, but overall, it's decreased activity, physical activity, and increased food consumption. And not just food consumption, but kids are really eating these high caloric foods that have a lot of sugar and a lot of fat and salt and are prepackaged and made easier for us to eat. There's a lot of marketing for foods for kids too. They're not pushing kids to eat fruits and vegetables. They're pushing kids to eat, chips and pop and cookies and candies, and they make them pretty and bright. So kids are wanting to eat these foods. So there's definitely a lot of push in food marketing for unhealthy food choices. And a big thing too is our portion sizes have greatly increased over the years as well.
Mhm.
And food is not so much being eaten at home as a family meal, but there's a lot more eating out and eating on the go, which those types of foods usually aren't as nutritious as something we can make at home.
Definitely. And I'm sure convenience plays a big part of that too. With, like you said, being on the go, it's kind of just like what's easiest. But looking long term as to how this affects our kids is something parents definitely need to be aware of.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, with that, how can families make nutrition more of a focus in their busy day to day lives?
It does take a little bit of planning. We can't expect to eat healthier if we don't kind of plan ahead of time. So, if you're constantly on the go, you're probably going to be more likely to get fast food or order in food because you're not prepared and not sure what you should cook. So, I advise all my families to think of what you're going to be cooking for the week. Maybe Sundays are you have a little calendar and you tell the whole family, we're going to have this, this, and this on these days, and that way you've got your groceries ready and you have a plan in place, because sometimes when you don't have a plan, we result to what's convenient but maybe not good for our family or as wholesome for our family. And you
Hmm.
can also think of things like crock pot meals, that will be a meal ready for you guys when you get home from your sports or when you get home from work and you had a busy day.
Yes, I love the crock pot. It is, even working from home, it's still a staple for me. So,
Yeah, yeah. Doesn't have to be winter or fall too to make a crock pot meal. They can be made all year long.
yeah, for sure. So many of our parents watching may struggle with picky eaters. So, how can parents encourage healthy eating for kids who might struggle a little more with eating their fruits and vegetables?
Yeah, this is very common and it's not always easy, but the best thing you can do for your kids is introduce fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and a variety of foods from a very young age. So they're kind of getting used to it. And it's important to keep in mind that kids might not like these foods right away. It can take sometimes 10 to 15 times before a child has a certain food or fruit, vegetable, before they're like, okay, this isn't so bad. So it really does take some dedication, and don't give up on these kids. And the other very important thing is we really need parents to lead by example. For example, if a parent grimaces when we talk about broccoli, that child isn't very willing to try broccoli either. So we really need parents to be willing to also eat these types of nutritious foods, so your kids are looking up to you. And if the parents are likely to eat these types of foods, so are the kiddos.
Yeah, that's great advice. It's all about framing, right? So if
It is.
mom and dad do it, then kids are more likely to. So that's great.
Yes, absolutely.
So we've talked a little bit about MyPlate in the past. Can you describe first what MyPlate is and then how it fits into building healthy nutritional habits?
Yeah. And I wish I had a plate with me right now to show you guys an example, but
Yeah.
basically the My Plate is a guideline for parents and for kids to see a well-balanced meal. So the My Plate approach is a way of seeing we should eat all the major food groups together for our meals, and not just grains or not just meat, but we want fruits, vegetables, grains, and dairy and protein combined. And the My Plate shows us that half of our plates should be filled up with fruits or vegetables. They have a lot of fiber, not a lot of calories, but they keep us full and satisfied and provide a lot of nutrients. And then the other half of a plate is made up between grains and protein. So, like I said, this can be like a casserole too, but we have to keep in mind, okay, if I want my plate to also be applied to this casserole, we want to make sure that casserole isn't just grains and meat. We want to throw in a bunch of vegetables in with that too, to kind of balance, having half vegetables, half grains and meat too, if that makes sense. So it's a great visualization, and it works very well for families.
hmm Yeah, that's a great tip. So, families, when you are planning your meals for the week, make sure that you can reference the MyPlate, and I'll make sure to link that in the comment section. And then you can kind of go through the checklist in your head. Do I have a meat? Do I have a vegetable, a fruit, etc.? And then that can be just a quick mental tool for you to use as you're going through and building your healthy meals.
Mm-hmm.
So the next one, we're going to move into exercise. So if you're watching and you have any remaining questions on nutrition or exercise as we go into that portion of our talk, please feel free to comment them now. So, what amount of exercise is recommended for children? And with that, does it vary by age?
It does just a little bit. So our toddlers, we want them having at least 3 hours of physical activity every day, which doesn't mean necessarily exercise, but just active play, games, just running around like crazy toddlers do.
Right.
And then as kids get older, we really want to make sure they're having at least 60 minutes or an hour of exercise every day. And, depending on the age of the child, that can be also games and, or just simple walks as a family. It doesn't always have to be sports or competition type activities. But any way we can get our kids moving, it counts, and it's very important to their health.
Yeah. So I know, with COVID, a lot of kids were inside and not really moving around. So, what tips do you have for kids to help meet those recommended exercise and activity goals?
Yeah, it was a very difficult year. It kind of reminded me of winter all year round, where we couldn't do a lot of things and go outside. But there are, methods that we can get past. There's a lot of things inside we can do, just playing games, scavenger hunts. Mimicking animals for our really young kids, just walking around like dinosaurs or whatever you can do to make them have fun with it. You can utilize sometimes your stairs at home and ask your kids, like, hey, can we go up and down the stairs a couple times? Or I forgot this, will you go get this for me upstairs? And there are videos on YouTube too, where kids can be active or dance or follow a certain exercise routine too. So, and it doesn't always have to be an outdoor activity for kids to have some kind of physical activity.
Right. Yeah, I remember my little cousins, they are 4 and 5, and during the pandemic when we were at home, they would pull up on YouTube. There was like yoga for kids and fun stuff like
Mhm.
that, and they would make it so there's different characters, like it was mermaid themed yoga, and there's so many fun resources out there. So even if
Yes.
just want to hop on YouTube and look some of those up, those are great.
Yes, there are a lot of resources out there. You just have to kind of search and find something that your kids would like. And another rule of thumb is I always tell parents after school, set a timer and make sure that before your kids sit down with their electronics, that you've got that 60 minutes of activity at least out of the way for the night. If they do more, that's great, but try to make that be the focus when kids get home from school.
Yeah, that's good because they've been sitting all day. They need to get up and move around before they sit down and do more
Yes.
homework. So
Yes.
awesome. So since it is September and we're going into the fall and winter seasons, what other advice do you have for kids staying active during the colder months?
I always tell families to take advantage of things like just going to the mall and doing a little shopping. You don't have to buy anything, but just getting your family into an indoor area where you guys can be walking around. That's huge. Look at other events going on. The Omaha Children's Museum or trampoline parks, places like that too are really fun for kids. And then again, go back to like what fun and games can we have indoors? Like, hide and go seek as a family. Maybe you have some minor exercise equipment at homes for your older kids, such as some free weights or a jump rope, or maybe even a treadmill, something like that too.
hmm Yeah, super fun. So, how does the Boys Town Pediatric Weight Management Clinic help children in building and maintaining these healthy habits?
So we kind of have a team approach. So besides me, we also have a dietitian, we have a physical therapist, and a behavioral therapist. And so we're looking at all aspects of making people healthier. It's not just as simple as eat less and move more, but we got to, kind of make small short-term goals, and that can lead to healthier habits over time. We want to just kind of break through some of those barriers too that make us kind of do unhealthy habits, and that's where we come in to support you guys with those changes, because we understand it's not easy to completely change our eating and our activity habits, but if we can help you guys make small little changes, they will lead to very good improvements in your family's health over time.
That's great. And it totally makes it seem, less daunting. Like you said, instead of looking at the long term and thinking, oh my gosh, I have all these things I need to work on and change within my family, let's start small. And Boys Town does a great job too, I think, of focusing on the holistic child. So, as Carly mentioned, you're not just working with a dietitian or, a physical therapist, it's everything combined, which I think has proven great success within the program. So I'm glad you could touch on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So last question is during Childhood Obesity Month, what is one thing that you think parents should know about childhood health?
The biggest thing parents should know is that we're not here because of your child's cosmetic features of being maybe overweight or having a heavier body size, but our focus is getting them healthier, because these kids, although they feel fine and nothing hurts, they can have some underlying health issues, such as being either type 2 diabetic or pre-diabetic, having high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and a lot of other things that are very silent, but they're there. And if maybe the unhealthy habits continue over time, these health conditions can get a lot worse and not lead to a long, happy life for your child. So that's what our focus is about. Is we want these kids to grow to be very healthy adults, and that's what we can specialize in, is finding those things and then changing those health conditions. And they do improve actually very well with some small changes to what our kids are eating and what they're getting for activity.
Mhm. That's great. So, thank you so much, Carly. It was so great to learn from you and get this insight into helping build healthy habits for kids. So, for everyone watching, I will make sure to link the Boys Town Pediatric Weight Management Clinic in the comment section of this video so you can access it and request a referral, everything like that. So, Carly, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
You too.